My name is Ashley Kehr, and I am the co-host of the Real Estate Rookie podcast and author of Real Estate Rookie 90 Days to Your First Investment. If you haven't already, make sure you are subscribed to this YouTube channel to be the first to know about new videos like this. I started my real estate journey in 2013 as a property manager and purchased my first duplex in 2014. Since then, I have bought and sold single family and multifamily homes. Getting properties under contract are just the first step to running a successful real estate deal. Once you get the property under contract, there are lists of items that need to be addressed. One of these include addressing inherited tenants. You can either purchase a property vacant or one with tenants in place. There are some pros and cons to having inherited tenants. Let's go over the pros. You get rental income on day one. Well, if they have been paying rent. And you don't have to spend time getting new tenants in place. And you have the opportunity to propose a rent increase to those current tenants to get to market rent when their lease expires or if it's month to month. The tenants can also tell you information about the property, including what repairs need to be made. Then there are the cons. They could be tenants that pay late or are not paying at all, and you have to do an eviction right off the bat. Maybe they are not taking care of the property, or you want to remodel the unit to increase the rent, but they want to live out the 9 months left on their lease, and you're forced to keep them in the unit and not have the extra value and that rental increase to the property. There are several other pros and cons, but those are the basics. We're going to go over a couple ways to mitigate that risk when inheriting tenants. The first thing you should do before you even close on the property is an estoppel agreement. If the property you are purchasing already has tenants in place and they're going to stay and continue to rent from you, you need to create an estoppel agreement. With the current owner's permission, you can contact the current tenants in the property to gather information from the tenant to compare to the current lease agreement. Or if there is no lease agreement, you can compare what the landlord and the tenant say are the same. You can also find out about repairs and maintenance that need to be done on the property too. I like gathering the tenant's information ahead of time so I can enter it into my property management software and give them a heads up on how they will pay their rent once the property closes and becomes mine. If a landlord doesn't want the tenants to know he is selling, you can give the forms to the current landlord to give to the tenants and just have him let the tenants know he is updating his records or something along those lines. You can create an estoppel agreement yourself. It's basically a questionnaire or a form. There are also various templates online. If you have my book, Real Estate Rookie 90 Days to Your First Investment, there is a template for you to use in there too. Here's the information I like to ask on an estoppel agreement. The tenant contact information. So their name, their phone number, their mailing address, the terms of their lease agreement. What is their rent? When does their lease expire? Also a list of people living in the unit. If their rent is paid to date or the last time they paid a security deposit and how much? Do they pay for any utilities like electric? Do they own any of the appliances? Do they have a pet and what breed is it? Do they have any other written or verbal agreements with the landlord? Are there any repairs or improvements that need to be done to the property? Then I have a signature line for the tenant to sign and send back. This is great for comparing with the information the seller told you to, especially if they don't have solid lease agreements in place and it's based on the seller's word what the terms are. If you are interested in more videos like this on self-managing your rental properties, make sure to hit that like button to let BiggerPockets know to bring on more investors to share their best tips and practices on this topic. The next item you want to ensure happens is that you receive the security deposit if the tenant made one to the current owner. Oftentimes, this will be a credit on the closing statement, which will decrease your purchase price. Make sure that credit matches what the lease agreement and estoppel agreement states. I did have a seller once have his attorney decrease the security deposit amount that he was crediting me because the tenants owed him back rent. I would not make this mistake again. I was left with barely any security deposit from the tenants, and there wasn't much leverage to have them replenish the security deposit during the term of their lease. Fortunately, those tenants have still been in that unit for the last 5 years and continue to care for the unit, and therefore I am not expecting a lot of damages to have to keep their security deposit when they do move out. The last thing I want to cover is inheriting tenants that are paying under market rent. If the unit as is could demand a higher rent, then you are able to offer your tenants two options. I love going the options route, which give your tenant the choice. They become the decision maker. Option one is a rental increase. First of all, remember that you can't just increase the rent at any time you want. You can only increase the rent when their lease is expiring. You must also give proper notice. There are state-specific laws that require how much notice you must give a tenant if you are increasing their rent or not renewing their lease agreement. The first option I give the tenants is to accept the new rental rate. I like to include a letter that shows comparables in the area that have the same rent of the increase or even higher. This shows the tenant that if they decide to move, they are paying moving costs along with paying the same market rent. I have also offered a step increase, where instead of hitting them with a $200 per month increase, I will gradually increase the rent over a period of 6 months. This helps ease the pain. I am more willing to do this with a tenant who has lived in a unit a long time, has always paid on time according to the previous owner, and the unit is in excellent condition. The second option I offer the tenants is to accept the non-renewal and plan to move out when their lease expires. I send the tenant both of the options and ask them to sign and return what option they choose. Hopefully, some of that information has eased your mind on accepting inherited tenants if you find yourself in a deal with tenants in place. If you are a rookie investor looking to learn more about everything real estate, make sure to subscribe to the Real Estate Rookie podcast on your favorite podcast platform. And check out my new book, Real Estate Rookie, 90 Days to Your First Investment, available on the BiggerPockets bookstore. Before you X out, leave a comment below to share your experience if you have had any inherited tenants and how it worked out for you. Thank you for watching.